the inspiration for the collection that I've just done, Doodles, really came from the last 2 years. I have not really produced a huge amount of new work. I've actually been behind closed doors, starting again with a lot of my practice. So I've been creating a lot of artworks and a lot of early maquette work to really think about my geometry, the colours that I'm using, the palette, the materials. And so this was really born out of that. And I've called it Doodles because that's kind of what I feel like I've been doing over the last 2 years, is sort of unconsciously just working on things, consciously and unconsciously working on things to find a new language, to find a new way of working. When CC Tapi came to my studio, they saw some of these early maquette works that I was doing, and they saw 1 or 2 of these artworks that I'd been working on, which are artist canvas with paint and stitching. So a kind of crossing over between my furniture 3-dimension and the 2-dimension of the textile work that I've been doing in the fashion collections. And so they asked me to develop that work, and so I created 6 of these textile artworks that could then be translated into rugs. That journey from 2D to 3D for me has been a very important part of my work. I started off working in fine art and history of art. I moved to magazines, all very much about the 2-dimensional image. And when I started to make work, 7 or 8 years ago now, I really wanted to create 3-dimensional objects. And I think as a woman at the time, I decided to not work with textiles and not work with ceramics. I was one of the, a generation of the first women working in product design. And I really felt like I had to assert myself in terms of materials and in terms of geometry. So I used a lot of steel, bronze, heavyweight materials. And so it's only now that I feel I have the confidence to work in ceramics and textiles. Fairly recently, in the last few years, I've become a mother, and this is this return to the original creativity of being a child, the naivety, the drawing, the expression of colour, the expression with materials. This is something that I am constantly trying to get myself back to, is that originality of creation, and so I think that this is my attempt to get to that. I think for them, technically, it's been very difficult. Once I handed over those original maquettes and the artworks, they came back to me with suggestions on how we could create the depths within it. So there are 6 different depths within each rug. The shapes are all cut out, which presents challenges in itself. And then we had to create a palette of over 70 colours, of completely starting again with colours that they didn't even have in their palette. So it's been a challenge, I think, in terms of getting the painterly quality, but I think they've really achieved that.